Jasper the cat had been visiting his owner, Vincent, every day since the old man was admitted to the hospital. Although this was clearly against hospital policy, they made an exception, as it seemed to be the only thing bringing Vincent joy. However, one doctor, Anthony, couldn't shake the feeling that something strange was going on with this devoted feline. It puzzled him that no one had noticed it before, and he was determined to get to the bottom of the mystery. Anthony was chasing the cat through the hospital halls, determined to catch him. Eventually, he cornered Jasper in a room and closed the door behind him, leaving no escape for the cat. It didn't take long for Anthony to grab the struggling cat. Normally, Jasper loved attention, but not after visiting Vincent. Now, Anthony was finally going to find out why Jasper's daily visits weren't just for a quick cuddle. The cat was sneaking something in for the old man, and Anthony was ready to confront him about it. What was Vincent hiding? What was Jasper bringing into the hospital? And why was Anthony so eager to confront Vincent? Jasper the cat had been visiting his grumpy 85-year-old owner, Vincent, every day since the old man was admitted to the hospital. Even though this was against their policy, the hospital made an exception due to the fact that the old man would probably never get out of here alive again. It also helped that Jasper was extremely social with other patients and even hospital staff. Everybody loved the cat, and Jasper lifted some people's spirits. Nobody had a problem with making an exception for the cat at first, but as most people know, good things never seem to last in hospitals. Steve, one of the doctors who was always on call for Vincent, had recently started to notice something out of the ordinary. Jasper began acting increasingly odd over the last few days. Where the cat had always been happy to see anyone, this slowly started to change. It seemed like his intentions had suddenly shifted. This whole time, Jasper had wanted to be around other people, but now something was very different. Where before the cat came in and immediately started to socialize with everyone around, now the only thing he seemed to look forward to was visiting Vincent. After this visit, Jasper was ready to be petted by other people in the hospital again. For a few days, Anthony noticed changes in Jasper's behavior, but hardly anyone else did. He had seen the cat rush to Vincent several times and felt compelled to investigate. As a cat lover, he found it strange that Jasper's behavior could change so drastically. Vincent often requested privacy during visits, making it difficult for Anthony to spy on them without risking his job. Instead, he decided to follow Jasper when he left the hospital, hoping to uncover the reason for the cat's odd behavior. Jasper was easy to follow, calmly strolling down the street and greeting everyone. Eventually, he arrived at an old house about a 20-minute walk from the hospital and entered through a cat door. Nervous but determined, Anthony approached the door and rang the bell, driven by curiosity about what was happening inside. As he waited for someone to open the door, it did not happen. Nobody answered the doorbell, but he knew that someone was inside the house because he noticed that the curtains near the door were slightly moving. Someone had been watching him stand there but hadn't wanted to open up to him. What reason could there be for someone not wanting Anthony to be there? He was sure that something was going on, but he didn't exactly have an idea of what it was. The sure thing was that he was going to keep a closer eye on the cat from now on because this really made him worry about the cute animal. Therefore, his plan was to observe Jasper the next time he visited the hospital. What followed was that the cat didn't come to the hospital the next day, nor the day after. Anthony worried that he had spooked the mysterious person inside the house and that he or she would never let Jasper come to the hospital again. He was starting to feel very guilty about everything that had happened the day he followed Jasper. During the days in which Jasper didn't visit Vincent, the patient started to become the worst version of himself again. He was whining and being mean to everyone. Although he didn't ask about the cat at all, he was making the days of any doctor who was dealing with him a literal hell with his dreadful behavior. However, things became clearer in the coming days. Except for his very first day in the hospital, Vincent hadn't had any visitors in his room apart from his beloved cat. But after Anthony had gone to that creepy house and Jasper had stopped visiting, someone unknown had started to show up on a daily basis to visit Vincent. Anthony became very curious about this change and figured out from the administration office that the visitor's name was Lucas. His name was not similar to any of Vincent's family members, which raised a lot of questions for the hospital staff. Meanwhile, people began to notice the absence of their beloved cat. The hospital staff also noticed the newcomer, Lucas, who always ensured that Vincent's door was tightly shut and the curtains drawn during his visits. The nurses observed that Vincent didn't seem any happier after Lucas' visits compared to when Jasper came. One day, Anthony asked Lucas why he visited Vincent so often, but received only silence in response. Hospital protocol required respecting a visitor's privacy, but Anthony felt something was off. He decided to alert security, convinced that Lucas was up to no good, and they needed to ensure he couldn't enter the building again without a valid reason. How did Anthony do this? The concerned doctor made up an excuse about other patients and hospital visitors complaining about the grim-looking Lucas. They apparently reported to Anthony that they felt very unsafe with him around. This was a risky move for the doctor. It could actually have implications for his job if he could not back this up with evidence. However, Anthony had an alternative motive for banning this man from the hospital, which could stimulate other hospital employees to back up his story. In truth, he wasn't the only one who had noticed that beloved Jasper had stopped showing up since Lucas began his daily visits. With this logic, it might also work the other way around. Security accepted his plea, and in the 2 days that followed, Vincent did not receive any visitors. On the first day, Vincent was extremely angry, but by the second day, he had stopped talking or reacting to anyone, which Anthony saw as an improvement. Life in the hospital continued without the distraction of Vincent's outbursts. However, on the third day, things changed when Jasper the cat entered the hospital, instantly recognized by everyone. He went straight to Vincent, prompting someone at the reception to alert Anthony. Rushing to Vincent's room, Anthony closed the door just before Jasper could enter. When Jasper noticed the closed door, he hesitated. As he had always found a way in before, Anthony tried to pick him up, but Jasper darted away, leading to a comical chase through the hospital. Eventually, Jasper entered an empty office, and Anthony quickly followed, shutting the door behind him. Alone with the cat, Anthony struggled to catch him, receiving scratches and bites in the process. Finally, he managed to hold Jasper, hoping to uncover the mysteries surrounding both the cat and Vincent, as well as Lucas. Some answers began to come sooner than he expected. When he had Jasper in a hold, he could investigate what he thought was just Jasper's collar. It turned out to be much more than that, as it was clearly something custom-made for some unknown purpose. Around Jasper's neck seemed to be a small compartment the size of a battery. Anthony also figured out that a lock around the cat's neck was holding everything together. When the doctor discovered that the click system removed Jasper's collar, the cat instantly transformed back into his calm and affectionate self, beloved by everyone in the hospital. Anthony began to piece together that Jasper was likely being trained to deliver something to Vincent. Once the collar was off, the cat knew he was free again, but many questions remained about why this was happening and who was behind it. After letting Jasper roam the hospital, Anthony inspected the compartment he had taken from the cat and was shocked by what he found inside. Realizing the implications, he felt compelled to confront Vincent, but knew he needed to involve the police due to the white powder he discovered. Things moved quickly from there. The police contacted Lucas, who had been visiting Vincent during Jasper's absence. Lucas confirmed Anthony's suspicions, leading the police to the house where Anthony had seen Jasper enter. Despite no one answering the door, the police, armed with a search warrant, broke it down and arrested 2 men hiding inside. When Anthony heard this the next day, he expected the 2 suspects to be family members of Vincent, but they turned out to be his accomplices. As the point of contact at the hospital, Anthony was quickly notified of the arrest. The police found a bunch of illegal items, but they could not share the details yet. They did share, however, that the 2 people inside had given their statements and that their stories aligned. This meant that there was now enough evidence to proceed with the investigation and confront Vincent as well. When Anthony and 2 policemen from the investigation got to Vincent's room, the old man was screaming again. This time, he was really at the top of his lungs. Still, whatever he was angry about right now could not be half as bad as what the police were about to inform him. The moment the officers walked into the room, Vincent's expression changed to one of shock and horror. There was no doubt that he knew what this was about. He had probably been afraid of this since the days he started to be visited less often. Now he knew he was busted, and there wasn't much he could do about it. Dr. Anthony identified a white powder found in a compartment of Jasper's collar, which the police needed to confirm. Vincent and his accomplices had been using Jasper to sneak drugs into the hospital for Vincent's addiction. To Anthony's shock, Vincent was revealed to be a dealer, with Lucas and 2 others working for him. After the chase in the hospital, Vincent was transported to await trial, and new test results showed he had a few more years to live than expected, though he might not be happy about it. With Vincent and his accomplices awaiting trial, Jasper was left without care. Feeling responsible, Anthony decided to adopt the cat, believing Jasper understood he had been rescued. Now he could bring Jasper to the hospital to interact with his new friends.